And welcome to another edition of Duck Snow Sports. This week, I'm previewing Week 3 of the NFL. And let me start this week by throwing my flag on these replacement officials in the NFL right now because they have done a horrible job. Last week, there were blown call after blown call after blown call. A few scraps broke out, especially in the Atlanta-Denver game and the Baltimore and Philly game. Very bad stuff last week, bad officiating, and it's pretty clear that the NFL players do not respect these replacement refs right now. And Roger Goodell, you have to go and pay your referees. You need the real refs back because it's hurting the product and it's hurting games, and it's giving a little, and you're losing a little credibility in your games. And let's hope this week that the officials get things in order and no blown calls. But we'll start with our first game we're going to preview as the New York Giants. After their comeback victory against Tampa Bay, traveled down to the Bible Belt to take on the Carolina Panthers. Last week's comeback against Tampa Bay was very big for this Giants team, as if the Giants went 0-2 in the season, not necessarily they'd be done, but they'd be in trouble. And Eli Manning in the second half played great. I mean, in the end, getting over 500 yards, and overall had a bad game last week. I know he got 5 yards, but had a bad game. Throwing 3 picks. First half was just awful. Couldn't do anything in the first half, but did a big comeback. And New York Giants, it's clear they're not the same team they were last year. You know, it sounds like Bradshaw could be out for a few weeks with a neck injury. So it will be interesting how the Giants rebound, because it'll be very interesting how they rebound, because they're playing a pretty good team in Carolina, who last week really showed that they are improved from last year. They are a team that's ready to take the next step and be a playoff team against being a team. I know the Saints are on too, but still a very good Saints team. And what can you say about Cam Newton, man? This guy is just special. He has the it factor, meaning he just has it. He makes players around him better. And I really like what Cam Newton's right now. I really love what the Carolina Panthers are doing right now. I mean, they're running the ball well. They're playing good on defense. Cam Newton's doing his thing. And the Carolina Panthers are quietly becoming a good team in this league. You know, could they challenge the Atlanta Falcons for the NFC South? We'll have to see when those teams hook up. But I really like this Carolina team. And I think Cam Newton will be pulling out the Superman this week, because I believe the New York Giants are in turmoil right now. And I believe Cam Newton's on a high right now. I just believe the Carolina Panthers are going to beat the New York Giants. This will be a close one, but I think Carolina gets it done by a field goal. All right, our next game is a Sunday nighter under the big lights with Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, as they say, as the New England Patriots, the 1-1 New England Patriots, as they lost the Cardinals last week. I don't know who saw that one coming, but I didn't. As they travel to the Baltimore Ravens, as the Baltimore Ravens also lost last week to the Philadelphia Eagles. So, two teams coming off a loss, should be interesting. We'll start with New England. You know, you can lose a game, but sometimes you really lose. As last week, New England really lost, as they lose, you know, their second starting tight end in Hernandez out for 6 weeks, but they signed Kellen Winslow Jr. this week, so it should be interesting how it is. But let's be honest, last week Tom Brady did not play well. And that defense, we saw a lot of holes last week in New England that we haven't seen over the last couple of years. I mean, that defense was just straight up, maybe they weren't straight up awful last week, but they were pretty bad last week. And Tom Brady, like I said, did not play well. You know, started to play a little better in the second half, but really showed some holes last week, showing maybe New England isn't as good as we thought they were, maybe not as good as they were last year. As last year, they won a lot of games last year, in my opinion, that they should have won last year. They got away because Tom Brady is so good. He can mask a lot of things. He can mask how bad that defense is, because Tom Brady is always on the field and scoring points. And you see, when Tom Brady's not playing well, this team just doesn't win games. And that's going to be a problem going down the stretch, as this defense has to step up and go to the next level. And can they do that? We haven't seen this defense really be an elite defense since they were winning Super Bowls back in the mid-2000s. So New England, in my opinion, are in trouble right now. And if Tom Brady plays that way every week, they will not be winning many games. They probably won't go in the playoffs. And they're playing a pissed-off Baltimore team who truly believe in their heart of hearts should have beat New England last year in the playoffs. And this will be interesting because, you know, you talk about teams playing with chips on their shoulders. I think the Baltimore Ravens play with boulders on their shoulders, as they always seem to be pissed off and just hate New England with a passion, hate Tom Brady with a passion. I don't think Ray Lewis would even dine out with Tom Brady. That's how much I think he doesn't like each other. There is a mutual respect between those two, but just that, I don't think they just plain do not like each other. And it'll be interesting because last week the Baltimore Ravens should have won that game. Let's be honest, should have won that game. A lot of, like I said at the beginning of my video, a lot of bad calls in that game. You know, a scrap almost broke out. A lot of bad things happened to the Baltimore Ravens last week. Probably should have won that game, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. They lost the game. Now they're 1-1. Still in good shape. I still love this team. I really think they are the best team in the AFC. And I think Joe Flacco has taken this game to the next level. I really like the way Joe Flacco started the season, finding the deep ball consistently, making that plays in front, which he couldn't do last year, handing it off to Ray Rice, who is, in my opinion, is the best running back in the NFL right now. I mean, who else would you take over Ray Rice, the running back position? I don't know. And that's what I think with their defense playing so well and Joe Flacco playing so out of his mind right now, I just think the Baltimore Ravens are just a little bit better than Patriots. And I truly believe that the Baltimore Ravens, this will be tight, but the Baltimore Ravens beat the Patriots by a touchdown. Should be a good game because this is the game I'm most looking forward to the week and should be the game of the week. All right, our next game, as the high-flying Atlanta Falcons travel to San Diego to take on Philip Rivers and the Chargers. And again, a matchup of two teams that are still undefeated, which there's not many teams left undefeated in the league, so interesting. We'll start with Atlanta. They showed us on a big stage last week on Monday Night Football how good the Atlanta Falcons really are. I mean, Matt Ryan played outstanding in my opinion. He played great, you know, not turning the ball over, not really throwing a bad pass up for that one pass to Tracy Porter that he dropped. But besides that, played really well. You know, no turnovers, having a great start of the year. I think is still #1 in QB rating through 2 weeks of the season. Matt Ryan's having a hell of a year so far. And that defense, you know, week 1 against the Chiefs, you know, they had their issues, you know, did not play that good. But last week, man, they came to play, you know, picking off Peyton Manning, the great Peyton Manning, 3 times in the first quarter, also forcing another turnover in the first half. Really played great. And it just shows you how good a Mike Nolan can coach up a defense. Because when Mike Nolan's coaching your defense, you are going to be in good shape, as he showed with the Atlanta Falcons, taking a average to all-right defense and turning them slowly into one of the best defense in the league. I think in a few years, it's not going to happen overnight, but I think in a few years, Atlanta Falcons will be a very good defense. But that being said, Atlanta Falcons, there was an issue that came up, popped after the game. It wasn't all good. It wasn't all sunny on Monday, as you know, Michael Turner charged with drunk driving. You know, nothing I heard from the league so far. So don't think suspension's coming. But I think just with Arthur Blank's done such a good job of building that program there, I don't think Michael Turner will play in the first quarter. It'll be something like the team suspends him for a quarter, won't start the game or something like that. But that being said, probably maybe a few years ago this would have really hurt the Atlanta Falcons if Turner got suspended. But they've moved to more of a passing team with Julio Jones and White and Tony Gonzalez. You know, really a really good team this week, and they're handfuls this week because the San Diego Chargers quietly are 2-0, and I say quietly because nobody's talking about the Chargers. Probably because we've seen this before, where they get off to good starts and then go down the stretch, just like last year. I think last year when they started 5-1, and then just went a tailspin, and then had a bad half of the second half last year. But this San Diego team, I don't think it's like last year. I think the San Diego team is for real. I mean, Philip Rivers is playing great right now. He's playing like an MVP type. You know, Matt Ryan and Philip Rivers. This is going to be a good QB battle because two good QBs, two QBs just hitting their prime. Be interesting to see. But with San Diego, you know, they've had trouble running the ball consistently, and that will hurt them in a team with Atlanta, because Atlanta's going to put up points, and you're going to have to keep Matt Ryan off the field, so they got to get the running game going to beat the Falcons this week. But I just think, I know Atlanta's going on the road, and they're not a very traditional good road team, but I just think Atlanta Falcons are just they got the blinders on right now. They're thinking Super Bowl all the way. And they're looking like, honestly, them and the 49ers look like the two best teams in the NFC right now. And I think the Atlanta Falcons keep this train rolling. I think the Atlanta Falcons beat the Chargers. This will be a good game, a tight game. I think a field goal game. But I just think the Atlanta Falcons are just a little bit better than the Chargers right now. And I believe the Atlanta Falcons beat the Chargers in San Diego. And our next game we're going to preview as the 2-0 Philadelphia Eagles. You know, kind of a little surprising as they probably should be 0-2 right now. But traveling to the 2-0, that's right, the 2-0 Arizona Cardinals. Start with Philly. Philly is 2-0, yes. Have they played great? No. No, they have not played great. Should they be 0-2? Yes, they should be 0-2. I mean, I really thought Baltimore should have won that game last week, like I said earlier in the video. In week 1, I really thought Cleveland should have beat Philly in week 1, so they have not played well. Michael Vick had a very good last drive as he drove the Eagles all the way down the field and scored himself in the end zone. Very good leadership there, but in total this year has not played well. And for the Eagles to be successful this year, Michael Vick has to be like the Michael Vick from a couple years ago, the MVP type Michael Vick. And I know we gave a lot of slack last year how bad this defense was, but you can't say that this year, as this defense is playing great right now. And I expect that to continue, as I think Philadelphia, I know they're 2-0, maybe should be 0-2 right now, but I think Philly will find the pieces to the puzzle and still be a good team this year and still have a good week this week, because they're playing an Arizona Cardinal team who is 2-0. Yes, they beat the New England Patriots. And week 1, they beat the Seattle Seahawks, who played pretty well this week against Cowboys, so maybe I'm not giving Arizona enough credit. But it's pretty clear, Arizona, I think this is a mirage. I don't think this is real. I think John Skelton, and they're doing the 2 QB thing with John Skelton and Cobb, as Cobb came in last week, played great in the second half. But I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if Arizona's for real, like I said. Like, their defense isn't great. They can't run the ball consistently enough to be a ring team, which they want to be. And I just think this week they're going to have their hands full, because I think they're playing a Philly team who isn't getting respect. So you know they're going to be mad, and prove they want to be mad, and prove that they are that good. And I just think Arizona just doesn't have enough pieces right now. Will they be a good team in a few years? Maybe. But are they good? They going to be good the rest of the year? Are they going to win the West? I just don't see it. And I think the Philadelphia Eagles, with Mike Vick and all that talent around them, and that good defense and that proving defense, I just think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this game this week. Will be interesting. And I really don't think this will be close, as I think the Philadelphia Eagles blow the doors of the Arizona Cardinals and show they are for real and expose the Arizona Cardinals for the frauds that they are. All right, the rest of our games this week. St. Louis at Chicago. I will take the Chicago Bears. Buffalo at Cleveland. I will take Buffalo. I don't know what The Rock was talking about. Cleveland does not rock. Tampa Bay at Dallas. Interesting one. Both interesting teams this year. Both 1-1 teams, but I'll take Tampa Bay to beat Dallas. Jacksonville at Indy. I will take Indy. Andrew Luck, 2-1 in the season, as Jacksonville is just playing awful. New York Jets at Miami. Okay, Miami, you won a game. But I don't expect that to continue, as I expect the Jets to beat the Dolphins. San Francisco at Minnesota. I will take San Fran to keep this rolling, and they are the best team in the NFC. Kansas City at New Orleans. Interesting 0-2 teams, but I'll take the Saints to bounce back. Detroit at Tennessee. I will take the Lions. Cincinnati at RG3 and the Redskins. I love RG3. Could have won that game last week if it wasn't for a bonehead play by Morgan. But I'll take Andy Dalton and the Cincinnati Bengals to win that game. Houston at Denver. Should be interesting. Another good game this week. I'll take Houston to beat Denver, as we saw Denver get a little exposed on Monday night. Pittsburgh at Oakland. I'll take Pittsburgh, because Oakland, if you lose to Miami, you just suck. Yeah, so I'll take Pittsburgh, because Oakland blows. In our last game of the week, Green Bay and Seattle on Monday night. I will take the Packers. I know Seattle played great last week, and they always play good at home, but the Packers are just playing better than Seattle right now, and I will take the Packers to beat the Seahawks on Monday Night Football. All right, you should keep track of my picks as I went 10-6 last week. Not great, but again, not awful. To bring my total record through 2 weeks to 21-11, doing all right this year. But we'll see if this continues week 3, as I'm very confident these picks will come in. And until next time, I'm Aaron Duxbury saying I'm Dux, and I know sports. Damn it.